Because of why I search the deep through endless nights, no time to sleep. The call inside I can't deny. I'll find the light because of why.
Hey everyone, so let's picture it. You've just landed in the Bahamas. You're thinking about those perfect white sand beaches, that crystal clear turquoise water, basically a week of pure paradise. It really is the ultimate getaway, right up until you see the prices.
And that's when it hits. The sticker shock. It's a feeling that visitors, and honestly, the locals too, know all too well. This one Reddit user just nails it, saying you should plan for everything to cost about 150% more than you're used to. Wow.
So what is going on here? Why is it that this incredible island nation is so expensive? I mean, everything from a gallon of milk to a hotel stay costs a fortune. Is that just the price you pay for paradise, or is there something more complicated happening under the surface? Okay, let's dive into this.
To really get it, the first thing we have to do is look at a map. Because the most basic reason for these high costs, it comes down to simple geography. The Bahamas isn't just one island. It's a huge chain of them. You see, being an archipelago of over 700 islands creates a massive logistical headache. Almost everything you see or buy has to be imported. And these numbers have been wild for a long time. Even back in 1995, they were bringing in over $1 billion worth of goods compared to exporting less than 200 million. So things have to be shipped to a main port like Nassau, and then they have to be shipped out again to all the other islands. Every single step in that chain adds another cost, which you end up paying for.
But the shipping and logistics, that's really only part one of the story. The next piece of this puzzle is a very deliberate economic choice that the country made about how to make its money. And this is where things get really fascinating.
Take a look at this. It's basically a tale of two different tax philosophies. On one hand, the Bahamas has a system that sounds incredible to a lot of people. No income tax, no capital gains tax, and no inheritance tax. But, a government's got to pay its bills. So to make up for all that, they lean really hard on taxes for stuff coming into the country. We're talking high import duties, a value-added tax, and other fees.
And when I say they lean on it, I mean it. Historically, these import taxes alone have made up nearly half of the entire government's budget. Think about that. And of course, that cost doesn't just vanish. It gets passed directly to you, the consumer. So that 25 to 65% tax on imported goods, yep, that's baked into the price of almost everything you buy.
And on top of those duties, you've got the value-added tax, or VAT. It's currently sitting at 10%, and it's just one more layer that gets added to most goods and services, pushing that final price tag up and up for everybody. So, let's recap. We have an island nation that's expensive to get stuff to, and a tax system that makes those things even more expensive once they arrive. Now let's add the third major ingredient to the mix. The country's entire tourism model is designed for a very specific type of customer. The Bahamas positions itself as a luxury destination, a playground for the rich. It's a well-known tax haven that attracts wealthy investors and tourists who are looking for five-star resorts and exclusive, top-tier experiences. This creates a market where high prices aren't just tolerated, they're kind of expected. And when your target audience has deep pockets, prices across the entire economy tend to rise to meet that level.
And listen, this isn't some secret analysis. The people running the tourism industry there are completely open about it. The president of the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association, Robert Sands, just laid it out there. He said, flat out, it's an expensive place. That's just a fundamental part of its reality.
Okay, so up until now, we've pretty much been talking about this from a visitor's perspective. But what about the nearly 400,000 people who actually live there? The people who call the Bahamas home. How does all of this impact their day-to-day lives?
When you ask locals how they manage to afford the basics, the answers are honestly pretty heartbreaking. This comment from a Bahamian on Reddit really just says it all. For so many, it's a daily, difficult struggle.
And this is the crucial point. This chart shows the absolutely massive gap between wages. On the island of New Providence, where most people live, the estimated income you need for a decent standard of living is nearly 3 times the national minimum wage.
People are earning just a fraction of what they actually need to live.
And you can literally see that gap on the grocery store shelves. I mean, a gallon of milk can run you up to $8. A bag of tortilla chips, over $10. In fact, some tourists have started calling one of the most popular grocery stores the $8 store because it feels like that's the starting price for so many everyday items.
And if those high prices weren't enough, you also have to factor in inflation. Recent spikes have been squeezing family budgets even tighter, just making it harder and harder for people to get by.
And it's not just about groceries. The International Monetary Fund pointed out a huge housing crisis. Over a decade, housing costs jumped by 14%, and average wages? They barely moved, climbing just 2%. That growing gap puts an insane amount of pressure on families, especially those on the lower end of the income scale.
So what's the solution here? The country is facing this enormous challenge. How do you keep your very successful, very expensive tourism machine running while also making sure your own citizens can afford to live? It's a really delicate balancing act. Well, the government knows this is a problem. They've recently announced a pretty big move to try and offer some relief. Starting in April 2025, they're cutting the VAT on foods sold in grocery stores in half, from 10% all the way down to 5%. It's a direct shot at trying to lessen the financial burden on Bahamian families.
And really, this all leads us to the big, final question. The Bahamas is caught in this tough spot. Its economy is built on being a high-cost luxury paradise, but can it keep that brand alive while also creating a practical, affordable reality for the very people who make it all possible?
It's a super complex issue, and there are definitely no easy answers. We would genuinely love to hear what you think. What's the right path forward for the Bahamas? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to get to the bottom of more big questions like this, you know what to do. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our next explainer. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.